Yo guys, what's up? It's XRAYZ and welcome back to another video. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about some pretty big news that did come out over the past couple of days. So I haven't made a video on this and I wanted to make a video on this just to kind of talk about these topics. The first one being, we had a bunch of info that came out on the Nintendo Switch 2. I just wanted to give my thoughts on the information we have so far. And then the other two, one leads to the other kind of, because there is a mention of Nintendo in the absolutely massive Xbox leak that happened recently, which sucks for the devs, but at the same time it's like, geez, that is a lot of stuff that came out. So let's talk about it. If you guys enjoy the video, drop a like. If you're new, make sure to subscribe with notifications on, and follow me on Twitter/X at OGXRAYZ if you guys want to talk and interact. With that said, let's do it. So I guess first let's talk about this Switch 2 situation, just because I am a huge Nintendo fan, and so this to me was probably the most exciting bit of information we got here. But so far we've gotten information on a demo of Switch 2 that came out for what was kind of like they were running a demo behind closed doors at Gamescom for the Switch 2. Now, apparently the stats for this thing were, there's a lot of people who are putting out these like fake, you know, like this is the parts that it was running, because apparently this wasn't exactly a Switch 2, but really they had the GPUs, the CPUs, the RAM, etc., that could emulate the performance of what a Switch 2 could do. Now, we apparently did get a little bit of info on what this was like from the filings that we got from Activision the other day, which basically said that in late 2022 that Nintendo approached Activision to show them the Switch 2, and that they thought it looked like it had performance similar to the Xbox One and the PS4. Now, I don't know what that would mean. Maybe like PS4 Pro, I'm hoping. I don't know. But either way, it was their next mobile version, their next handheld hybrid console, and that it had performance similar to the PS4/Xbox One. Now, I personally don't really know how to feel about this, because I don't know how to gauge how strong of a console, you know, it should be by now. As a console releasing in 2024, which is when the rumors are saying that this is going to release, is that a good bit of power for a handheld device? And it makes it a little murky, because you see a lot of portable handheld computers now that are able to perform really well. Maybe not top tier AAA, but like for instance the Steam Deck, which I think is now starting to hit a wall in terms of what games can run fully on the device. But you see a lot of those games that look like AAA console games running on there, albeit on a much lower resolution. And so I'm not really sure if that's impressive or if that's more like, it makes sense, you know what I mean? So it's a little bit weird. But apparently there was also a separate demo that was done at Gamescom, which showed off an enhanced version of Breath of the Wild that was running at 60 frames per second, 4K. And on top of that, it was also, I think the thing that they were really trying to highlight, apparently this is coming from a podcast, but basically the thing they were trying to highlight was, look how fast the loading times are. And if you've played Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, you'll know that when you go from start screen, the main start screen, not like the regular in-game one, but when you're going from the main menu to in-game, it takes a while. It takes a while to actually get in there. It feels like it takes forever, because a lot of consoles nowadays use SSDs, which allow for much faster loading. And so they were really trying to show off like, hey, look how fast this thing is loading. Oh, and also, by the way, it's you know, 4K 60 on this version of Breath of the Wild. Now, a lot of people were starting debating about that. They were like, oh my God, it's just like a version of Breath of the Wild that's going to be resold now with the Switch 2. I don't think it was that. If anything, they could do like a performance update to the game where they're like, hey, if you have these old games, you can play them on your Switch 2, maybe the digital versions. I don't know how backwards compatible it'll be. I'm hoping it'll be backwards compatible for some of the games, but we'll definitely have to see. But I think it was mostly them going like, hey, look, this is a demo, and then in the future they might charge like $10 for an upgraded version of it that if you've previously bought the game or whatever. So we'll see about that. The other thing that they talked about was that they showed off the Matrix demo that we saw in 2021, and that it was apparently running with the support of DLSS 3.5, a more stripped down version of that, so not like the full version of that you would see on, I think that's like the 4090s now, like the 40 series RTX graphics cards, but apparently it was running some version of that, and it was running, and they were like showing it off like, look, here's the demo that was running on the Xbox Series X and the PS5 or whatever. So it makes me wonder if the version of the Switch 2 that Activision saw was like the initial stages of what they were doing, and then they were like beefed it up and made it juicier, because the one that they showed off at Gamescom reportedly seems like it might be slightly more powerful than that, or honestly it could just be the PS4 / Xbox One are the power, like that's the output it can do, but maybe with the ability of that DLSS, they're actually able to bump it up and make it look even better. So it could just be that. Now, I think that for a handheld device, something with PS4-esque graphics is actually pretty good. Like if you could run those games on the Switch, mostly I'm excited. I buy Nintendo consoles because I like Nintendo games. So I'm excited for a Breath of the Wild that is in 4K, or the next Zelda game that comes out in 4K. The game that no one's talking about, Metroid 4. What is that going to look like in 4K? So mostly I'm excited to see, what are they able to do with that limited abilities now, or I should say the abilities to get the 1080p native. Like that to me is probably the most exciting thing. But again, what do you guys think? Are you expecting more? Are you like bummed that it's going to be not like Xbox, closer to Xbox, Series X or the PS5 in power? I personally am not that disappointed, because again, when I buy Nintendo consoles, it is specifically for AAA Nintendo games, and if you have a PS4 architecture type thing or that kind of output, then I'm still pretty excited for PS4 level games from Nintendo's first party and third party studios. So personally for me, that's like a huge win. But again, for other people who are maybe more casual players who are like, see it as like the other console, they're going to be like, that's not impressive. And it probably isn't compared to the Steam Deck or something else. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. All right, so switching gears now to another bit of info. There was a huge, massive, ginormous, probably the biggest leak in the history of gaming, from a bunch of documents that were leaked allegedly now by Xbox. At first, people were like, "Oh no, the judge and all those government officials from the FTC are the ones who did it." But apparently, like a bunch of files from the discovery portion of the FTC ruling about if Microsoft was able to purchase Activision, apparently all of that started coming out, and it was unredacted, and there was a bunch of information on there. I think probably the most laughable one that everyone's talking about is that Microsoft is still trying to buy Nintendo. In an email, Phil Spencer was letting them know that the career moment for him would be buying Nintendo, and then saying that the only reason Nintendo was successful was because of console sales, or despite their console sales, something dumb. Here's the exact quote. It's just taken a long time for Nintendo to realize that their future exists off of their own hardware. So like, are they saying like Nintendo should pull a Sega and should just become a publisher? Are they just drooling and salivating at Mario on the Xbox and PC? Probably, but it's so hilarious that a company like Nintendo, which I think they also mentioned in the email, the difficult portion about trying to buy Nintendo is Nintendo has so much cash on hand and literally no debt, that they, even if they wanted to sell, it's like they don't have to. They are like looking pretty good. And now Nintendo recently said that they're going to expand into being an entertainment company more so than just a gaming company, which I'm assuming is because of the success of the Mario movie, pulling it over $1 billion gross over, the span of its limited theatrical run. So I think personally that Nintendo probably laughed them out of the room like they did in 2001 if they ever came back and were like, hey, or 2000, early 2000s, if they ever did show up and were like, we're planning on buying you. I think I like Microsoft. I like Phil Spencer. I just think that it's kind of hilarious, but it might just be one of those where you're just kind of chit-chatting with your friends and you say stuff that you probably don't fully mean, that you think, but maybe don't fully mean, and just now it's being dissected by people. So that's just kind of what happened. I don't think that they're bad for thinking about wanting to buy Nintendo. Who wouldn't want to be able to buy Nintendo? I think it's just, I think people were laughing at the fact that they're like, oh, so, you know, these guys think they can buy Nintendo and they're just going to ruin it. And, you know, they think that it's, that their next generation is outside of consoles, but basically making it seem like Nintendo was not a good console manufacturer, or insinuating. And it's like the Switch did so well, the Wii did so well, the Wii U was not, let's just forget about the Wii U. But you know, they're doing so well that I don't think Nintendo at any point is going to be like, we have to sell, you know. That's just the way it is. All right, some of the other things they said was they leaked some information on what the Bethesda might be working on, and that is an Oblivion remaster. Then they started mentioning that AAA game publishers have lost their mojo. I just kind of want to go through the bigger stuff here. That Microsoft expected a Red Dead Redemption 2 next-gen refresh. They did do recently the Red Dead Redemption 1, so we'll see if they do a 2 refresh as well. That 3/4 of Xbox gamers had a Series S, which is not exactly a good number when you're trying to push for the strongest console ever. That Microsoft drastically underestimated Baldur's Gate 3, which it went on to do really, really well. That Phil Spencer wasn't really impressed with the PS5 reveal, and then we saw, Jesus, Xbox just not competing at all with sales of consoles, although it did outsell the Wii U. So put that on the mantle. Okay, so the other one, Microsoft accidentally got an exclusive Sega game, apparently, which is kind of hilarious as well. And that the Xbox Series X might go all digital. I really don't want to show a lot of this stuff because I feel like it kind of sucks for the devs and stuff, so I'll just kind of give you guys the big overscoping thing, and then you guys can check to see if you want to see the rest of that. But apparently, what the mid-life refresh for the Xbox, and that apparently is going to be all digital. I don't want to give you more details than that, but a bunch of people were freaking out about game preservation because of that. And then if you guys want to look it up and see what it looks like, it looks funky. Check it out. They also mentioned what their new controller would do and how it looks for the next refresh or the next console, and a little bit about their next console, not a refresh, but an actual console being a hybrid cloud machine, which seeing that just kind of makes me go like, I don't know, like, I feel like gaming is going in a cloud-based direction and is just a terrible idea, and I don't think that cloud is ever going to be this big thing for gaming unless it becomes super affordable and it's like $10 a month and you get, if you could do Game Pass all cloud with the performance with zero input lag, then people would get it. But I don't think that cloud will ever get to that because of the limitations on the user end. Not everyone has the fastest internet speed, and I don't know how fast the internet would have to be for you to feel a minute amount of input lag. So that's just my opinion. But anyways, that is all the info we had, guys. I wanted to mention it, talk about it a little bit. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. But exciting stuff. I'm excited for the Switch 2. Hopefully we get more info on that. And then I think these emails are just like dudes emailing each other, friends emailing each other. I don't think there was anything crazy in there, but also kind of sad that if this ends up being true, a lot of development stuff was just kind of leaked because of a court case. So that is what it is. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed the video, drop a like. If you're new, make sure to subscribe and notifications on so you don't miss a single upload. And if you want to support the channel directly, you can do so by checking out my sponsors, Control Freak and Aim Controller. I use them every single time I play. Code OGXRAYZ gets you a discount. Link in the description below to that, or through my Amazon influencer page if you guys would much rather do it that way. And then if you guys want to talk and interact, at OGXRAYZ over on Twitter, give me a follow over there, link down below. You guys have an awesome day. Take care. I'm out. Peace.